Welcome to Season 2, Episode 11 of Strange Darkness Radio. This is your co-host, Carolyn Gray, and before we begin this episode, Bobby and I just wanted to take a moment to mention the story that has been unfolding over the past few days. As I'm sure most of us are aware, a submarine exploring the wreck of the Titanic went missing with 5 souls on board, and unfortunately, the debris, or what was left of the submarine, was discovered today, just before we were getting ready to drop this episode. So Bobby and I just wanted to take a moment to give our sincerest condolences to the victims' families, and also take a moment of silence for the victims themselves. This is very sad news. I think we were all hoping for a different outcome and that the victims would somehow be found alive and well, and unfortunately that wasn't the case. So please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. On another note, I would like to apologize to our listeners and to Silverayne for the sound quality. I am not sure what was going on with this episode, but my mic was on the fritz and it just didn't sound great. So I do apologize for that. But I hope you enjoy this episode, and thank you so much for listening to Strange Darkness Radio.
Welcome to Strange Darkness Radio, where we take you on a journey into the unknown and explore the darkest corners of the human experience. I'm Sky, the AI voice of the show, and I'm excited to introduce your hosts, Bobby Washington and Carolyn Gray. Together, they will be your guides through the eerie and unsettling tales that lurk in the shadows. From ghosts and hauntings to cryptids and extraterrestrials, we cover it all. So, get comfortable, turn down the lights, and prepare yourself for a journey into the macabre. It's time for Strange Darkness Radio.
We are back again for another episode of Strange Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Bobby Washington, with Carolyn Gray. What's happening?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Tonight is going to be a very interesting show based upon we're doing poppets and witch bottles, or witchcraft in general, in the sense of spells and all that good stuff. And on today's show, we have our guest witch, Silverayne. Silverayne, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So Silverayne, what have you been up to?
Let's see. I've been up to trying to get my my own little paranormal stuff up and running.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you were talking about doing paranormal investigation last time.
Yes.
And how's that going? Have you made headway with that?
I'm about to. I mean, I'm finding team members that live close to me who are interested, which is always interesting because there's people that are part of other teams.
Yes.
So they're pretty loyal to their team.
Exactly. That is true. Even to get someone to go out with you these days, it's
right. And
Right.
I approach things differently as opposed to other teams. I'm very anti-poke the bear.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh yeah, that's interesting. And which, it's funny that you say that, because you think other people want to learn different tactics that could, add to their repertoire, while doing investigations and all that. Good stuff. I know Carolyn goes out from time to time and tries to do her
I
investigation.
love ghost hunting, but no one else ever wants to go with me.
Yeah. I'm more
Having the
reluctant.
same problem.
It doesn't help that the areas around here, like there's a cemetery that's they don't allow any sort of investigating at.
Oh,
So it's just trying to find the right places to go to and people that want to go.
yeah.
Do some cemeteries allow it? I thought that they all kind of.
Yeah, some cemeteries do. It depends on if it's an open cemetery or this particular cemetery has security that drives by and will tell you to leave. So you can like Google haunted locations in Portland, Oregon, and they'll tell you different spots. So that's what my interest is. Of course, my apartment's haunted, so good times. I usually get activity right before bed that I'll hear weird noises and whispering, and it's just come to the point where like, leave me and my animals alone and you can chill in my apartment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Are
it.
they sorry. Are they things that have followed you home from your
no,
ghost hunting?
so I live next door to a house that's creepy. It's a really creepy house that we all joke that it just needs to be burned to the ground. It just gives really bad vibes, this house. And then our building may or may not have been built on ancient burial grounds.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
So there's a lot of energy from that. I did kind of poke the bear last week, like do something. Well, I woke up to my bathroom light being turned off and no one had been in my apartment. So they became like corporeal enough to like physically manipulate my light switch.
Wow, that must been getting some serious energies. Does that happen a lot? As far as things being moved or things being shut off and all that?
No. Sometimes it's a sense of humor where I'll be missing things. Like I know where something is, and then like I had a smartwatch and I couldn't find it forever. And I'm like, fine, I give up. And then like my watch is where I looked a dozen times.
Oh yeah. I hate that because that makes me start questioning like myself. Like, am I going crazy? And then especially
that's why they do it, right?
Yeah.
So in the magical community, we call them little they're not like a house elf, but they're like a house elf. They're called house brownies, especially of magical homes. And they're tiny little creatures that they have a sense of humor and they like to move your things. And you can usually bribe them with like little tiny bits of tea or honey or cookies, and they'll give you your stuff back.
Oh, wow.
I've heard people say that, they have spirits that will clean their house. They'll leave and then they come back and the floor's been swept or something.
Right. I mean, you just have to make nice with the little creatures that live in your house and you're good.
That's too funny. Not me. I'm like,
I'll hear
get out.
That's my thing.
Yeah. As far as a spirit, actually, like, I don't know, the Conjuring house for one, or the other houses that people have heard something telling them to get out of the house. It's generally a good idea to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Like whatever is in there does not like your presence and you need to leave because bad things are going to happen.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a trip.
Probably listen.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Like if a spirit doesn't like you or you're just a negative person and it tends to mess with you, but it's, kind of possessing you in the sense of, turning your life upside down and making you do and act crazy, so it basically haunting you. And, that is interesting. It is.
I do watch like I watch like shows where people have been haunted, and I watch one where like actual movie stars were talking about them having a haunting experience, and I feel for them because that's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Where you are being literally terrorized by a spirit in your home.
That's true. Well, let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to get into poppets and witch bottles. And I really had to, when we broached this subject, it was actually Silverayne broached this with us. And she said poppets, Poppets. And I was like, do you mean puppets? Puppets? She's like, nope. And I had to go in and do my research and everything. And man, did I find a lot that I had no clue about. So, so
I had never heard of witches' bottles or poppets, and I found it really interesting when I was researching. But before you go to break, just real quick, I wanted to say, Silverayne, I was listening to 2 of your episodes just before we started recording, and I have so many questions about your house and Ouija boards and your paranormal, ghost hunting stuff. But first of all, I just wanted to say you have such a nice, soothing voice. It is so relaxing. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna sound like a freaking parrot compared to her. You have such a nice voice. You should be on radio or something.
Yeah, I told her she should. Definitely.
Have you told her that before?
I've always, I've thought about it. What I want to do is I want to do more lives, or like I have a YouTube channel set up ready to go that's for my paranormal. With me, like it's gonna be like live stuff. There isn't gonna be a whole lot of editing, and I'm sure I'm gonna run into people like, oh well, that's so fake. Like I didn't even edit this. This isn't. This is my life.
The live streams I find way more convincing. Like I watch all kinds of videos. Bobby knows I'm like obsessed. I watch
she sends
tons
me
of videos, and I send them. Yep. But the live stream ones are usually the most compelling because you can't edit. There's a live audience. They're watching you the whole time. It's really hard to fake that stuff. I mean, some of it, obviously you can have like actors and stuff helping you out if they really are motivated. But yeah, that sounds really cool.
I watch Kelsey Davies, who does a lot of stuff on the internet with, her encounters with spirits, and there's a lot of people like, well, the app is fake and blah, blah, blah. Like, I've tested the app myself, and, I believe in her work.
I am subscribing to her right now.
It's Kelsey Davies, and
Kelsey Davies. Okay.
She does little skits on Facebook of like reenacting her last ghost encounter, and it's kind of hilarious. Like, she has a haunted doll, and the spirit that resides in her house with the haunted doll, and I believe that she's genuine.
Sorry.
That was Carolyn going straight at it. She's ready.
I had to see Kelsey Davies. I had to check her out. My bad.
No, it's all good. Go ahead, Silverayne. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
But yeah, that just the whole thing with even the dolls, and I know we did a show on the dolls and everything. As far as, let me ask you this one question before we start. As far as poppets go, the difference between a haunted doll and a poppet, I'm going to say object for now, because that's something that's created, and you can use it for good, evil, I'll say bad, or, just as a protection, different things. But can those be possessed? Or those...
The poppets?
Yeah, poppet.
No, they can't be possessed.
Okay. They're meant to represent like a specific person, right?
Yes, we can use them basically as a tag lock, which means it is attached to a specific person for healing, for we want really bad things to happen to them.
Right.
But no, they can't be possessed. And it's funny, after the haunted doll episode, I'm actually writing a small little handbook.
Oh.
Your guide to haunted doll ownership.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's pretty cool.
That sounds great.
Okay, let's go ahead and go on break and let's get into this. We'll be back.
Okay.
We want to hear from you, our loyal listeners. To be a part of our show, call our Strange Darkness Radio hotline at 916-741-3032 or email us at strangedarknessradio@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at strangedarkness_radio, Twitter at SD Radio, and Facebook at Strange Darkness Radio to join our ever-growing Strange Darkness Radio family. Stay connected with us and keep the mystery alive. Welcome to another riveting episode of Strange Darkness Radio. On today's show, we're delving into the mystical realms of poppets and witch bottles. These age-old tools of magic have captured the imagination and curiosity of countless generations, whispering secrets of protection, healing, and ancient spells. As we step into the shadowy corridors of folklore and mysticism, prepare yourselves to be transported to a world where dolls and bottles hold the power to shape destinies, ward off malevolence, and bring forth positive energies. Poppets and witch bottles have played their enchanting roles in various cultures throughout history, revealing the profound depths of human ingenuity and the intricate dance between the seen and the unseen. Tonight, we embark on a journey through time and space, exploring the fascinating art of poppets and witch bottles. We will unravel the secrets behind their creation, delve into the ancient rituals that breathe life into these mystical objects, and uncover the symbolic threads that connect us to our ancestors' wisdom. Joining Bobby and Carolyn is our esteemed guest, Silverayne. She is well-versed in the realms of magic and folklore. Silverayne will be our guide tonight as we venture into the enchanting tapestry of poppets and witch bottles. Together, we'll discover the myriad uses of these magical vessels, from protection against dark forces to spells of love, healing, and prosperity. So sit back as we unravel the secrets of poppets and witch bottles. Prepare to be captivated by tales of mysticism, spells, and the potent energies woven into every stitch and every drop. Welcome to a world where imagination dances with the arcane, where the power of intention intertwines with the physical realm. Welcome to the realm of poppets and witch bottles, a realm where magic thrives, waiting to be explored. Welcome our show contributor, our resident witch, Silverayne. Back to the show.
Again, Silverayne, welcome to this episode, and thank you for coming on and even, like I said before, broaching this subject and, something that wasn't even on my radar, going in to this or, even knowing about the practices of certain aspects of witchcraft, which obviously this is one of them or two of them that you guys utilize in your practices. It doesn't matter which one you want to start with first, the poppets or witch bottles?
We can start with witch bottles.
Okay. Let's get into that. Because
I have so many questions
yeah,
for
me
you,
too.
Silverayne.
doing my little research, just the items. And again, it's very interesting because this version, obviously not to you, but to me, is I equate this to fantasy because I play a lot of role-playing games, and we use bottles for potions, for healing, for defensive spells, and all kind of different things, whatever. And as I did my research on this, I'm just finding that you literally can use bottles for defense when it comes to people putting hexes on you, or whether it's for prosperity, love, money, just different aspects. And, I just find it very intriguing. And then
That's one
things
thing
that go
I
into
found
this.
interesting about, both of them, but particularly the witches bottles. I didn't know anything about this before I started researching this week. And I don't know why, but for some reason, my mind automatically went to the negative. Like I was thinking, oh, this is for curses. This is like to harm somebody. But it turns out they're actually more used for protection, right?
Yes. The biggest thing, what I wanted to do this topic is I'm seeing a lot of mundane people like, hey, I found this bottle on my property. What is it? And in the groups that I'm in, it's you need to bury that or throw it away. Don't open it.
What is it a bad thing if you find one of those, or is it only bad if you open it? What happens if you open it?
It's not when it gets opened, it honestly depends on what the witch bottle is for. If it's a witch bottle that it's been buried for protecting the home or a person, it pretty much like it releases the spell if it's not done.
So
when we do our spell work, we have a time limit.
Yeah.
So should you put it back or rebury it if you find one of those? Or
you should rebury it if you find it. Or you can put it in like a plastic bag and throw it in the trash if you're not comfortable having it on your property. The biggest thing is don't open it.
Yeah, because it could be something that was done in the 1700s, the 1600s, the
Right.
late 1900s for a protection for the property off of some entity or something. And then the minute you throw that thing away, all hell can
You've got
break
a
loose.
demon.
And yeah, it's like, okay, what happened? Like, what's going on? And so that's
Right.
that's very intriguing because with all the new houses that are being put in, all the land that's being pulled up, and so that's very interesting. That
I feel bad for whoever, if like my former in-laws sell their property and someone starts burying up in the backyard, because they're going to find my witch bottles all over the place that I did for a lot of protection and whatnot. So yeah, should be really interesting.
That'd be a fun surprise.
Exactly. So what goes into creating, a witch bottle? As far as the contents.
It's a lot of intent is behind a lot of our magic. A lot of things, there's different herbs and crystals that correspond with different aspects like protection, love. Sometimes the opposite, another witch bottle is called a sour jar, which means all the nastiest ingredients that you could possibly find. And we put the person's name on a piece of paper in it, we shake it up, and that's where we wish very bad things happening to a person. So broken glass, needles, it's just, it depends on what we want to use the witch's bottle for. I have my witch's bottle from years ago that I made for protection. So it's up in my cupboard. It's got pins, needles, rosemary, and wine in it. That's used to keep. It's basically guarding against all harm. So anybody who wishes me ill, that will help protect my home.
Yeah.
And do you put like personal items, or you put like specific herbs and things like that are specifically to ward off evil, or kinds of things do you put in the bottles?
It's specific herbs. Okay. Sometimes we'll put their names on pieces of paper in it to protect that person, or to keep that person from gossiping against us. My dear friend, they practice as well, and their particular witch bottle keeps, all negative energy away from their home.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, go ahead, Carolyn.
Well, I was just going to say, can anyone make one, or is it only
anyone
for
can
witches?
make one? It's all about your intent.
Okay.
That's kind of what I was going to ask. Is it a spell book that you use to know these particular concoctions? Like, how do you come up with the ingredients that will work for, protection, like just to use protection spell?
A lot of it comes from intuition and also reading. Rosemary is used widely as an herb for protection and healing. It also is a great supplement for herbs if you don't have a particular herb. So if you want to, and here's the thing about people not realizing is you are probably practicing witchcraft without even knowing that you are. Like making a wish on a birthday candle is witchcraft. Singing songs, it can be construed as witchcraft. Anything that you speak into intent, wishing somebody happy birthday, singing the song.
The intent behind it.
It's all the intent behind it.
I'm sorry. I was listening to your episode where I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just listening to the episode, and you were saying the exact same thing. You were saying that it's the intent, and that's kind of how I grew up. My family is pretty spiritual, and my dad always taught me that your mind is very powerful. Your consciousness, people don't realize it's not. You can affect things with your mind, and that is witchcraft. It's kind of the same thing. It's just different interpretations, I guess, right?
Right. That's why I just think it's very important, being careful and kind with your words.
Right.
I don't like to speak negative things into the universe. I feel that's how I lost a cat in March of this year. And I honestly feel, my ex-husband spoke it into existence. So I just like being very careful with my words.
Yeah, everyone should be.
Yeah, that's very intriguing. Um,
Oh,
because you don't think about it, it's like, when you get angry and it's like I think I'm glad that a lot of people don't practice witchcraft because just because people are so quick to say something that they shouldn't, and then they'll wish they can take it back, and it could set a lot of different things in motion. I don't care if it's road rage, I don't care if it's an argument with your wife, I don't care if it's your boss or whatever. People,
People are petty.
yeah, with that type of intent. And again, hopefully, a lot of these things are just being passed by, because whether it's the know-how, the intent, or the verbiage not being the correct way or manner to say it, because a lot of people catch on fire every day. But
Right.
right.
when someone comes to you, and they want something with ill intent, how reticent are you to make that happen for them, or do you try to persuade them to not do something with malevolent or evil intent, or do you just be
I
like,
asked
okay,
them, well, I first asked them, are you, is this heat of the moment, or the therapist side of me tends to come out,
hmm
and we talk about, what's going on for them to feel the need that they need to go this avenue to try to help them work through their issue. And honestly, one of the groups that I'm in, it's more of the darker side, no questions asked, as long as we're very hardcore on not harming any children. That's an
yeah.
absolute, that's no. That is a deal breaker. We don't harm children. We don't harm children or pets.
Oh, that's interesting.
Um,
You guys, wait,
But you will do,
yeah.
yeah, you'll
So
do
you guys are
curses on
the
people.
elite,
Or,
yeah,
right.
the night witches of the elite, that only work between
So yeah.
midnight and 3 a.m. It's like goes down. But no, explain that a little bit. Yeah, like Carolyn was saying.
So if someone wants to make a sour jar, it's better if they do it themselves, because
Oh,
you're the driver of your destiny. Um,
So you help them do their
the
own witchcraft, basically.
right. It's better to do it on your own because you have the intent behind it.
so even if you don't know the practice and you're not, in a covenant or even practicing, you're still able, with your intent, to create something like that, and it still have the power, that you would invoke into it, even if I did it, because my intent would be there to try to achieve the goal that I'm trying to get from what I'm doing. Correct?
Right.
That's interesting.
I mean, it's interesting. There's a lot of people that are so open about their own practices, and I'm to that point where I'm I'm deciding to be an open book about my practice.
Hmm.
I'm not going
I
to
was
shy
going to
away from it.
say, I love how open you are about it, that you're just willing to answer any questions and be honest, the good and the bad.
So much like people in the LGBTQ community, witches have their own broom closet that they have to be in. Um, that's basically your practice can't be out in the open for fear of severe repercussion, because there are people that wish us ill
Yeah.
all the time. I ran into those people where, in a group where they wished me to burn at the stake. I mean, and I had to leave that group because the admin didn't think there was anything wrong with what they said.
Oh wow. And they were in the group, and they're witches, or were they just in a
No,
particular
this was just a
paranormal group?
this was a buy sell group
Oh, okay, got it.
that someone went to my page when I had it public, and then saying a bunch of horrible things. I'm just like, I'm just trying to sell a stroller is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to live my life.
Exactly.
Wow.
It doesn't have a puppet in it. It's like,
Right.
I'm trying to do something extremely mundane.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's just a part of
Yeah.
And
life.
there isn't a day that doesn't go by that someone has to, like, I'm in a group that's a metaphysical group, and there's not a day that goes by that someone's underneath my post with Bible verses.
Yeah.
Oh God, I know.
And then I come back with, like, you do know that the Bible is book of spells, right? And then,
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
they don't like that so much.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah.
So
as tolerant as our society is, witchcraft is still something that isn't very, at least not among most people, it's not very accepted. I'm into it. I think it's interesting. And when I was younger, I was
right,
into it.
there's people that are expecting us to do party tricks like they see on movies and television.
Right.
To me, it's interesting because one, it's funny. I'm the opposite of you guys. I thought it was more open because it's something that is, people can learn about. People can. It's not so closed off in certain aspects, and you can do your research. There's abundance of different books if you want to go down that realm. If you're questioning,
there is a big community,
Yeah.
and people are into it, right? So it's kind
for
of
sure.
Yeah,
ways.
there's a lot of us, and then you find people that are more Wiccan that act like it's Skull and Bone Society, like all their super secrets that they have.
Yeah, that's interesting because I also find it's very intriguing how Silverayne shows that she's been on have been our highest shows.
Right.
and
They're
talking
interesting.
about witches and different things, and then but I find that interesting because I guess there's probably, like Silverayne said, probably people in the closet or practice at home that don't know, that live in corporate America, and they don't say anything. They're more champion LGBTQ or whatever, Black Lives Matter or just whatever, opposed to saying anything about witches.
Right,
Like,
before
don't
they'll admit.
don't look my way, and
Right.
but yet that's what they're actually into and practicing. So I do find that very intriguing. And in everything, every person's thing should be accepted. It's not something nobody's and nobody should force other things on people to where
Right.
it's they're oppressed or depressed because of it.
Can I actually ask, Silverayne, is this considered a religion?
So witchcraft is the practice, and paganism and Wicca are more the religious side.
Oh, okay.
Because you can be Wiccan and be into witchcraft. You could be Wiccan and, I mean, what was it? All Wiccans are witches, but not all witches are Wiccan.
Oh, right. I've heard that. Okay.
I'm not Wiccan. Just because it's been bastardized so much to be like love and light and love everybody to death, and that's not real. That's not real.
It's not real life.
It's Gerald Gardner pretty much branched out and created his own little subculture of witchcraft, and the Wiccan Reed was a cute little poem that he made up, and everybody takes it as that's Wiccan that follows him take it at face value. And if you really look into it, it was a poem that he created because it sounded neat.
That's interesting.
Or you have people that are like, but the precious threefold. And you hear like the rule of three or the threefold law. And people don't want to read that. It actually is. It's more along the lines, if you do right by a witch, she will bless you 3 times. If you do wrong by her and she finds out about it, she will curse you 3 times. But there's a lot of people that take it as a universal law, and it's not.
Yeah. That is new. I've never heard that. So, that's interesting.
And I don't follow the threefold because I'm not Wiccan.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
One thing I find interesting is that you said, that some people think it's all love and light and blah blah blah, but and then like Bobby said, that's just not the universe. That's not reality. That's not how it works. And that's kind of what my spirituality teaches too. The universe isn't good or evil. It's neutral, and there's good and evil in it. But so it's kind of like the same with Wiccan. There's good and bad, right?
Right. Yeah, there's the good and the bad, and there's people that like to give us a bad name. Especially if I remember there was a whole thing, and not to like get political, but there was like this whole movement where people were trying to publicly, let's do a collective curse about, the incoming president that nobody really likes or whatever. But why do that publicly? Stop it. Stop trying to like make us a laughing stock and trying to be taken seriously if you're just going to make it a dog and pony show for the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
That's very true. But somebody keeps tripping Biden, so we need to work on that.
Maybe it's working.
No, she's talking about Trump. But but I do have a question.
All I know is I think we need fresh meat who has their act together.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, Silverayne, in your practice when it comes to someone, or if they're asking you how to help create them a bottle, do you find it more for love or success or money, those that they're asking for, particular ones in general, or is it just...
I get a lot of requests for those, and I also get a lot of requests for spell bottles for fertility.
Oh, fertility. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's been a big one. Like I guess a couple months ago, in just a random group, I did a bunch of pregnancy reads for people, and this one gal messaged me back, and I told her the month in which she would get pregnant and the gender, and she came back and had confirmed that's when she got pregnant with a boy. So that takes a lot of energy out of me. So I really don't. I mean, I do it all the time. People like, I'll tell them, and they're like shocked. Like, I told you were having a boy. So I mean, it started out like to be spiteful to someone that I didn't like, and then it just became a thing where, oh, I guess I can really protect pregnancies for people. Okay, I guess I'll do that.
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of success with people. Have had success with the fertility spell that I've given them, so I get a lot of requests for that.
Okay. And that is that in the bottle or form, or is that just more something that you do verbally?
So I do put a bottle of herbs and crystals together for them, and then I'll send it to them, and I'll write down this spell that they say along with it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And to me, spells more or less have a psychological effect. If this is your desire and you continually to speak it into the universe, and you also learn to relax and stop putting pressure on one another and focus on other things, it'll happen.
Yeah. Wow.
So, so yeah, I do a lot of psychology with witchcraft as well.
That was going to be my next question, because even in the way you speak and how you correlate the two things, I hear that psychologist coming out in you along with your process of what you do when you're creating or talking about your practice in, helping someone with whether it's, how to manufacture the bottle, how to, if they're going to do it, you're going to do it for them and all that. How you're correlating, in a
lot of groups that I'm in, we also focus on, the mundane might help you more than magic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, and I'm more, I don't know, it works for me and I also think like, say I create a spell, like a binding spell, or one spell that we do in particular is called a freezer spell, and it's putting the person's name on a piece of paper, writing down what we wish they would stop doing, and then we just stick it in water and stick it in a baggie and put it in the freezer to like cool the person off. Mm-hmm. And I believe that has like a psychological effect where you do everything to sever ties with that person. Like it creates a subconscious need to leave that person alone.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And then they will cool off whatever they're doing because you're no longer feeding into their behaviors.
Oh, interesting.
Right. So it's like it affects your behavior, which then affects the other person's behavior.
Right. And we're also very much like, if a person is really bothering you and it's not okay, we do the spell work in conjunction with helping you get that person out of your life, taking the steps, blocking that person, getting law enforcement involved if you have to, getting a restraining order, just to we like to cover all your bases.
No, that's true. That is true. And it's good to hear
Magic's not going to fix everything.
Exactly. That's what, because, people will say, well, why is this still happening to me? Okay, because the guy had something mentally, even though everything that Silverayne or you're doing to hold this guy back spiritually or even with a spell, his probably brain is so broken to where it's bypassing, anything to do with common logic and any hurdles that are being put in front of him to stop him from getting to this particular person is being thwarted because he, that's just how that person is. So that
kind of like prayer, right? Some people pray and they think that God's just supposed to fix everything. And it's like, no, God gives you the strength to fix your own problems. That's what it is.
Right. Like if you read the Bible, it kind of literally says, he's kind of left you here to fix it yourself.
Yeah.
All right. That's why we're
he'll
here.
listen to you, but no, child, you need to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
That is very intriguing.
I was talking with a friend of how Christians are so quick to blame the devil for all their downfalls. Like, no, Susan, you cheated on your husband all by yourself. No one made you do that.
She was tempted. That was your tempted, Silverayne. She was tempted.
That was your subconscious wanting to. That was you being addicted to the chemicals in your brain that rewarded you for that bad behavior. You like that feeling. You're going to do it again.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Or the devil made me lose my house. No, you not working and not paying your bills. You lost your house.
Yeah.
Right. You have control over your destiny in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
also got into debate the aid of your brain is basically the devil, where it gives you all those nice chemicals you like.
Yeah.
Rewards the bad behavior.
Yep. That sugar,
it's so much harder to do the right thing.
That sugar gets me every time. I'm fighting the sugar right now. But,
you too?
I'm trying to crack my sugar addiction. It's a pain to get rid of.
Yeah, 16 days for me so far. So just
let you
people
good for
know.
You. Sugar is harder to quit than anything.
Yeah, they say it is.
Yeah. And I've never done any drugs, so I wouldn't know what to base it on. But
exactly,
yeah,
me
that
too.
sugar monkey.
Yeah,
I said, just beat you up over. You know what? You need sugar right now.
Exactly.
Hey, sugar is a drug.
Yeah. Hey, so when it comes to creating bottles, why is it, in my little bit of research that I did, do people use blood in certain instances, urine, vinegar, spit, just some of the most vilest things? Some even use feces.
So when it comes to to make it personal, you want to make it personal. And they're just vile ingredients to use, and those are mostly used for the sour jars.
Oh, I
see. The vilest ingredients. Spit is a bodily fluid. Like using your own bodily fluids, and in witchcraft, we're very much about bodily fluids. When we do blood, and not everybody does blood magic. Yeah. I mean, there's a specific. They want to tie. It's more personal. Blood is a life-giving fluid.
Yes.
And there's a lot that it's when people use red is a candle for love, but red is also a candle that represents blood. White candles are purity and energy and healing. But sometimes we'll use red and white ribbons to correspond to life-giving fluids. The male life-giving fluid, blood being the ultimate life-giving fluid. It just makes it more potent.
Yeah.
I'm too much of a baby to use blood. I can't poke my finger or cut. Yeah, so I'm too much of a baby.
Yeah.
If we want to use blood, an option that we do have is going to like a pharmacy and getting those diabetic lancets that quickly pop your finger and you can be done with it. I'm not popping my finger to give a little bit of blood.
Yeah.
If I happen to cut myself, I will utilize the blood from that opened wound if I want to do a spell that I want to have extra oomph to it.
Oh, okay. So
does blood...
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you got it.
Well, does blood or any... I mean, I guess specifically blood, but and the other one that you said, the male life-giving fluid, are those specifically for bad sour jars, or are they just... Can you add them to any
those
kind
are
of jar?
mostly done. Those are mostly done for love and obsession spells.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And there's a lot of people that are willing to do those obsession spells of wanting to have their partner always desire them and be with them. And my one and only experience with a love spell that had a specific target in mind. I don't know if people have watched the movie Practical Magic, where she brings back her dead boyfriend and he becomes super possessive and jealous and is not the same person anymore. The one love spell that I did do, he was extremely hard to get rid of. Like, I couldn't break up with him to save my life. He would not leave me alone. He would not go away. He would not take the hint.
Now, did he have a spell on him, or was it vice versa? Did he put a spell on the situation?
No, I did the love spell to bring that person back in my life because I was silly and desperate.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and then you couldn't get rid of him.
No, I couldn't get rid of him. He would not break up with me. He would not accept breaking up as an answer.
Oh, wow.
So that was my lesson learned. Wow. I won't ever do one with a specific person in mind.
So when something like that happens, and do you have to destroy the bottle, or like what breaks that spell?
We will usually recite something. The spell is done. It's served its purpose. Or you can break the bottle and throw it in the trash.
Okay.
Just to like get rid of it, or break the bottle or bury it far, far away from you and never going back there ever again.
Yeah. And then here's the funny thing, even about a situation like that, and being that this happened to you, was he aware that you put this spell on him? So it's like, I didn't want to be, all up on you like this, but and this clingy, but you created this. Yeah, exactly.
No, he wasn't aware.
So then when you broke the spell, he went on about his business. Is that how that worked?
Yes, he finally went away.
Wow, that's crazy. Gosh. That's interesting.
If anytime I ever do a love spell, it's more or less not person minded, but more or less like you think about the things that you would like to see and have in a partner, and then the universe kind of sends those people in your way to weed them out for you to choose. Like, hey, this person fits what I'm looking for.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. That's like an app or a dating
right?
Yeah, to swipe,
which is
like,
dating app.
Yeah, exactly.
Like less dating app-y. I mean, I tend to stay away from dating apps. They're oh boy.
Yeah.
Those are interesting people. Those are really thirsty people that you shouldn't go out with ever.
Yeah, I don't. They're probably looking for other things other than just.
Those are the people that you end up on 48 hours.
Ooh.
Right.
So you guys.
Not all people from dating apps are terrible, but they are.
Rough out there, man.
Oh no, you hear about the stories, man, that happen out there.
Yeah,
but,
and
go ahead.
Yeah, no. So it's just like, let the universe help you find someone and not play like gamble with your life with a dating app.
Yeah, so I hit up Silverayne. She can hit you with a bottle or help you with a spell that will kind of guide you in the right direction.
Yeah. And be prepared to talk about your life like a good old therapy session in the process.
Exactly. And that's awesome, because they might find and work some things out even before they get to that next step and kind of realize what's been going on to help them, for the future.
And maybe decide they don't need the magic anymore.
Exactly.
Solve their own problem.
They've always had the magic. But let's go ahead and take another break, and then we'll get into Poppets. All right?
Welcome back to Strange Darkness Radio. We value your thoughts and opinions, and we want you to be a part of our show. You can call our Strange Darkness Radio hotline at 916-741-3032 or email us at strangedarknessradio@gmail.com to share your stories or ideas. For more updates and exclusive content, follow us on Instagram at strangedarkness_radio, Twitter at SDRadio, and Facebook at Strange Darkness Radio to join our ever-growing Strange Darkness Radio family. Stay connected with us, and together, let's keep the mystery alive.
All right, let's get into Poppets. I found this very intriguing also because, you've seen the voodoo dolls or different dolls with, the eyes had like buttons sewn on for eyes and little stitching for mouths.
I was literally going to ask Silverayne, what is the difference between a poppet and a voodoo doll? Are they the same thing?
Depending on who you ask, yes, but to me, voodoo dolls more or less belong to, that practice, which is more of a closed practice. They have
just different.
I think they have the same intent, but we just tend to call them poppets instead of voodoo dolls.
Yeah.
Unless you're part of that particular practice. Voodoo dolls were originally designed for health and healing. Do they curse people? Sure. They don't talk about it. Poppets serve the same purpose. We have a specific person in mind when we're making a poppet. If we can gather personal effects from said person, the better. Again, with love or obsession or health or healing or cursing that person. Sure, you can do the button eyes and the mouth if you want to go all out.
Yeah.
That's extra. If you want to have a bougie poppet, you can do that.
Well, yeah, on the ones that I was doing research on, let's say it's a person's particular blazer that the person always wore, and they used a button from that and just different aspects. Because what totally amazed me, when I see any doll with pins in it, I figured it was something evil and it was poking the person, but it's actually to target certain limbs. If you have a issue with your arm or your leg, they use the pins to direct the healing, for that particular area. So I found that was very intriguing because you always they look so evil with all these pins and things stuck in them. But
that's exactly what I was going to say. When you look online, go ahead.
Oh, pins correspond basically with the pressure points of the body too.
Yes. Yeah, and they were saying like acupuncture.
Doll acupuncture,
yes.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, doll acupuncture.
Yep. And then it
that's why you see jokes online. It's whoever has my voodoo doll, can you please either stop doing what you're doing or give it a back rub, something.
Can you crack my back?
Exactly.
That's really funny. But it's have you put one together for your clients, Silverayne?
Not for my clients, but I had one for myself.
Okay.
But my particular poppet, I don't know what exactly to call her because I haven't figured out what she is, but she's a particular spirit entity that has always been with me forever and ever. My friends have actually seen her in corporeal form, physical form. I haven't yet. She hides in the shadows, whatever. I know it's her. I use it as a vessel for her to rest in.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, so it's not a doll of you. It's not your own poppet.
It's either if she's with me, she either resides in one of my many stuffed animals, or I gave her a doll to rest her soul in when she's resting.
That is interesting.
Is interesting because she likes to move in particular places.
Oh.
The doll moves?
Yeah, the doll moves.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and it's interesting when it happens because I know I didn't put that there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things that I've gotten used to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that doesn't
that's
creep you out. Oh my gosh.
No, it's just one of those things you get used to. And the same thing, like if people, and I'm sure people have come across poppets and voodoo dolls, and it doesn't help. Like if you go to New Orleans and go to stores, they've got like voodoo dolls you can buy for like novelty.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
I'm just like, it's one of those things. Like Ouija boards and poppets and voodoo dolls aren't things that you should just like be able to buy without understanding the, meaning behind it. Like, do you really want to bring something that something can hop into? And sometimes, yeah. I mean, poppets, I don't really think can be possessed, but I don't know. You have a naughty spirit that can be like, oh, look, I'm going to hop in here and mess around with people.
Yeah, it's kind of inviting, right? Like inviting.
And then you have,
something.
Annabelle all over again in your house.
Right.
I just don't think witchcraft things should be souvenirs for people that don't know what they're doing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, when it comes to stuff like that, I'm definitely a proponent of that. But on the poppet realm, I also was intrigued on what they use for stuffing. Like they'll use certain, just like with the witch bottles, they'll use certain herbs inside the actual doll, and sew it up, and people sleep with these dolls just to get more intertwined as far as the self, because it's supposed to be a representation of them, on just a
Right.
standard, poppet.
You can like stuff it with different herbs and crystals and articles of clothing by a person, or to tag lock it, which is to basically tag that doll to a particular person, their personal effects, something that belonged to them, hair, pieces of clothing,
Mm-hmm.
or just regular batting that you can find to stuff regular dolls with too.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be anything fancy.
Interesting.
But you said that they can be used for healing, but they can also be used as a curse or as like a voodoo doll, right? Or to bring harm to someone. So how does that work?
The same manner as you tag lock it to a person, or you can even like take a piece of paper, write your name on it, stuff it inside the doll, sew it up. You name it, that person's name, and then, use the pins and needles to pinpoint areas that you want them to suffer. The genital area for impotence.
You
really?
just said make somebody impotent.
Yeah, did you hear that?
That's cold.
We use people in particular will use cucumbers and carve the person's name in it and stick it in the freezer for impotent spells.
Wow.
Wow.
That's definitely different.
But then what kind of other harm can you bring to someone with a doll? Like if you poke it in the arm, what happens? That person, their arm hurts, or how does it work?
I've heard stories of people actually having limbs broken.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Kicking it down the stairs and they fall down the stairs. There's an oil that one can make, and it's called doom oil. And if your listeners, or if witchcraft people happen to be listening, like, oh no, don't be telling our secrets like that. Yeah, it's called doom oil, and it's very, very nasty oil that you use on a target to wish horrible things happening to them.
Do you put it on do you have to apply it to the person, or you utilize it yourself?
You put it on the doll.
Oh, on the doll. Okay.
Or you drop a few drops on a piece of paper, and then you light that piece of paper on fire with the target's name on it.
And it just brings them like bad luck, bad juju, or?
Yes, very, very bad. It the PG version is it unalives them.
Oh.
Oh, wow. So that's the darker.
I thought you were
darker side
gonna
of it.
say they put the oil on the cucumber and then put that in there. and
No.
gave them
Your mind went a whole other way.
Y'all rather go that way than the unalive
Right.
portion. I
Yeah.
can deal with that probably
That's
for a couple hours. But wow, that's crazy. Yeah, you don't even think it gets to that extreme. You know what I mean? Like anybody, regardless of what the craft is or what, that it would ever get to that extreme to where a person would, utilize those particular arts or things. But
there's crazies out there in every religion, right? Every spirituality.
Yeah, because again, it's like.
But that's mostly reserved for people that are like the worst of the worst, the pedophiles, the rapists, the really
so it's not like
rotten,
something you just do to your
people.
ex or something.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's
no,
people.
with my exes, it's just please leave me alone.
Yeah, not
and then
Silverayne.
I stop all contact with them.
Yeah, but not you, Silverayne. But if a person,
like you've heard stories.
exactly. In every religion, you got the good, the bad, the pissed off, and the people who are who actually probably even are so high up to where they actually, it's like a assassin. A person who gets paid to kill people. They're doing it with the arts or whatever, and they're hired by whether it's corporations or people with a lot of money to take care of certain things and certain people. So I would never.
There's a lot of people especially in witchcraft. There's a lot of people that have no qualms about wishing harm on someone.
Right.
Yeah, because imagine what the government has access to when they're trying to the whole midnight goats thing when they were having trying to take out certain people in different countries, and they would have what is it? I always forget the name of the guy who sits in a room and who can astral project, and they have them actually try to take out certain targets.
Right. It's a tool, and it depends on who's using it, right? So.
Exactly. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I have like kind of a story and a question actually, and I guess now is a good time to bring it up. So Bobby knows I have family in Brazil, and this is a story that I've heard since I was a kid, but it's not. This didn't happen to someone in my family. I think it's like they heard the story from a friend. It's a friend of my relative. And then my relative told my mom, and my mom told me. So this is like third or fourth hand information. But basically, in Brazil, they do have a lot of magic. And I should have looked up the name of it. I should know it, but I didn't. But anyway, they practice magic out there. Some people. It's kind of interesting because it's like a mixture of Catholicism and African.
Santeria. That's Santeria.
Yes. But anyway, so a friend of a relative found out that their husband was cheating on them, and they went to a witch to put a curse on him. And the story is that she had the lady bring a picture of the ex, and she sewed the picture into the mouth of a frog while it was alive, and then buried the frog. And then supposedly, I think he got some sort of cancer soon after that, or I think he may have died. Something very bad happened to him. So is that something you've heard of before?
That's creepy and crazy.
Yes, and it's something I've heard of, and I just know enough to not to ever. You don't ever want to be on the bad side of someone that practices Santeria.
Right, that stuff is serious.
I knew of a girl that she got mixed up with this gal that was a hoodoo practitioner, and this girl ended up messing with her boyfriend, and then this girl ended up gaining a lot of weight, and just well, that was dumb. Don't be flirting with or messing with someone's boyfriend that practices that stuff.
It's extremely powerful. But another question I was going to ask you tonight is this, and this is for everything we've been talking about, does it only work if you believe in it? Because it seems like if you put a curse on someone and it winds up working, it really doesn't matter if that person believed it or not. So is it down to the person who is doing the cursing?
Who initializes the curse?
Belief? Right.
Yeah, it is. It's all about what I believe.
Oh, interesting.
And it kind of like, it's more or less like, I don't know. I hate using like karma because people use it wrong and it irritates me to no end. Because before I fell into all this, I was starting to get into Buddhism. And I even hate when people say like, their karma is their karmic retribution, because it's not even how that works. Um, it's universal. Like, we like to give the universe a little push and speak
To
it into the
basically do
universe.
what it was going to do anyway, right? To balance
Right.
the scales or whatever.
It's like, well, if that person happens to not be breathing anymore, that's okay with us.
Like you were saying, it's like if you were doing it to a bad person who deserved it or who had harmed someone else in some way, or right?
Yes. And it's funny, like, I know people like in my community that have listened to this talk show and they've never been like, "Oh wow, you shouldn't have said that." So,
Well, we don't
and
we don't
it's
want to
like,
get you in trouble or
no,
have
it's like,
counter
it's
spells.
not like, it's not, yeah, there's probably like a lot of like fluff bunny, we call them fluff bunny Wiccans, that are just like, oh no, I'm speaking about a whole bunch of horrible stuff. Okay, you stick with your fluff bunny crap and I'll stick with mine.
Yeah, and
It's
it's
just
just
honesty, right?
go ahead. What's that, Carolyn?
Oh, well,
No, that's it. Just being honest, sharing the truth, right?
I'm sharing, my practice and my truth that's true to me. And if it doesn't resonate with certain people, that's okay. If
Yeah.
you want to do your fluff bunny stuff, stay in your lane and leave me out of it.
Exactly.
Because if you look at the history of the actual deities, like the Egyptian deities and whatnot, none of them were love and light.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You didn't want to mess with the gods because they didn't suffer anybody.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean, they would like, I don't know, shoot you down with a bolt of lightning and not think twice about it.
Right.
I mean, my particular deities, weren't love and light.
yeah. So, speaking of that, real quick, so when it comes into work, because you guys don't worship a particular god or person, correct? It's more of the, you know,
It's not worshiping as in, your whole life becomes around them and bowing down to them. It's a
yeah.
partnership.
Oh, okay.
You want their particular help. You need to come with them with, good intentions. You need to do your work and show your work. Like, what have you done before you come asking me for help?
Mm-hmm.
And we give them offerings of, whatever offerings they particularly like
Yeah.
as a thank you to your servitude for helping us. I mean, I work with many deities, um, but no, it's never been a point like where you like, I don't know, the Christian God where they worship him.
Yeah.
I work with them. They're more like a really good friend or a partner.
Partnership. Yeah.
It's a partnership of respect.
Got it.
That's interesting.
And if it doesn't work out with a particular deity, you can always respectfully end the relationship and find one that suits you. Or not working with any deities at all. There's a lot of people that don't.
Oh,
They
okay.
more work with nature and intuition. And there's actually a lot of Christian witches.
Oh, is that like how does that work as far as because they're
That is them working with the saints, and that's working with
oh
Jesus, and that's working with Mary, and that's also honoring nature at the same time.
yeah. Well, that's interesting.
It's kind of like how in ancient Greece, ancient Rome, they would build, cities would have specific temples to a specific god, and that was their what's the word? It's like that god was responsible for watching over that city, right? And that temple.
Right.
Right. I like that.
So on the poppet realm, if someone creates one with malevolent intent, what can you do to to combat that as far as from a defensive standpoint? do you have to get cleansed, or there's something else you can do? Obviously, this particular item they have is in existence. It's not, because I know there are some poppets that you can actually destroy, and it's there's some are even made to be taken apart, and that's the whole process for a particular spell or a
If
particular.
you believe that someone has created a puppet or wishes you ill intent,
Mhm.
there's a lot of, protections you can do in your home. There's cleansing that you can do to yourself.
Oh, okay.
Um, there's also return to sender that we like to do. So if you're wishing me will ill intent, there's spells we do to return it to sender.
Oh,
That's interesting. So you just send it right back to them.
We send it right back to them.
that's interesting. So
In my home,
Go
I
ahead.
have wards up that protect me from ill intent.
Oh, that's good. So, tell people about the things that you offer, um, Silverayne, for your businesses, and to help people out, whether it's
So I do distance Reiki for people. I do crystal healing for people. I teach people how to do their own crystal healing and make their own herbal concoction for health and healing and protection. Um, I help people, if they're being believe that they're being cursed by someone, I help them with building wards and cleansing themselves in their home to prevent that. And I also do spell work for people. I'll concoct the spell bottle and write the spell down and send it to them, and I'll teach them how to do it, and then I will light a candle and put my energy into helping them.
I know you've probably already said this on previous episodes, but do you have like a website, or how do people reach you?
I have my link trees, and people can find me on Facebook.
Okay.
Carolyn will link your information in the show
Yes.
description.
And I'm going to reach out. I'm interested.
I had a friend come over and I did some Reiki and crystal healing with her, and she reacted to it in a positive way.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, it's really interesting. Like, with all this, the darker side of witchcraft that I do, and then people like, oh, well, you're a Reiki master. I'm like, well, yeah, I can turn it off and do what I need to do for healing. I encompass
Right.
all of it.
Now, when you say real quick, because I know fans are out there like, wait, well, she keeps saying dark magic that she does. Like, I mean, but you're not like what when you say that, what do you mean by that? Because I mean, again,
Well,
everything. Go ahead.
witchcraft is both. It's both light and the dark. And darker doesn't mean evil. It just means you encompass like the shadow side of yourself, the darker side of yourself.
Yeah.
Working with darker deities rather than, the atypical love and light like Athena or Artemis
Mm-hmm.
that are all about love and romance. I It's like I'm okay with cursing and hexing people,
Yeah.
as well as, you know, you can use the darker energies for healing as well.
Yeah,
I
that's
do
what I was going to
both.
allude to, as far as you're utilizing both aspects, and even though you're using a darker deity, it's actually for a lighter purpose, in the sense of, whether it's for a love spell, whether it's for a defense, or just to combat a presence in your home, or you know something that
Right.
you think is
I use a
following you.
different I encompass both, but I'm more on the darker side.
Okay.
Can I
I
ask
mean, my
what
demons,
deities do
I like to
you?
call them I work with darker deities.
Or do you work with any deities that people would know off top, or is it more? Or is
Yes.
that more?
I work with Lilith. I
Oh,
work
okay.
with the Morgan, and people know the Morgan. She's very spicy.
Only
She's
time.
not one to mess with.
Okay, well, I got some bad news, because I think I might have hurt or killed Lilith in Diablo 4. I'm just saying. I'm
Uh,
I'm a big Diablo 4 fan, Silverayne, and I'm
That's a
playing
good
playing
game.
that right now, whatever, and it has a lot of content. Lilith
I
is like the
also
main character.
I work with Anubis.
Oh,
He's the
nice.
Egyptian god of death.
Right.
I also work with Baphomet.
Right. The cat, right?
Baphomet, there's like a lot of like different people really can't agree what Baphomet does is he's, and for all intents and purposes, like the Goesha, which is like he's a demon. And I also work with Lucifer.
Yeah.
I'm a Luciferian witch.
Well, okay. And it's interesting because you just said a plethora of different religious contexts as far as from the Egyptian side, from the Christian side, from all realms.
Well, Lilith was more or less bastardized into the Christian religion.
Okay.
She's more synonymous, like, she's more synonymous with being like a satanic deity. But if you look into like, and it's called there's like the 11 satanic rules, and there's like the 7 satanic tenets, and none of them are evil.
Got it.
It's basically be a good person. We don't kill babies or animals. If you don't belong in someone's area, then don't be there. Be respectful of other people's property.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's unfortunate when the satanic panic happens, where people lost their ever-loving minds, thinking they're all eating babies and killing people and just like willy-nilly raping and pillaging.
Right, because it's not what people think. It's not.
No,
people
it's not.
associate
And
Satan
honestly,
and Lucifer
they're
with evil.
extremely, Satan is literally a job title. Whatever deity suits them at the moment that they work with.
Yeah.
They're extremely boring people. I know some. They're very boring.
I thought
they pay their
I don't know about
taxes.
the baby things and all that stuff, but I definitely thought there was some sexual things happening.
No, they are very much, if you do not have consent, then it is not a go.
Yeah.
Satanists are very much about consent.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So there's
Yes, it's all about consent.
Yeah.
I'm into Gnosticism, and Gnosticism, they actually believe that the Bible kind of got flipped, and I don't want to offend anyone, so I won't get too much into it. And I'm not saying I 100% agree or believe this, but basically that Satan tricked everyone into believing that he was God, and he's the God in the Bible. And so the God in the Bible is actually Satan, and Satan is actually, he's just the bringer of light. He came down to earth and he tried to teach humanity, and he brought fire, he brought light. And there's all these different versions of the same story in all these different religions.
Lucifer's called the light bringer, so he's more of a teacher, and it basically like do unto others, but don't turn a blind eye and let people walk all over you.
Right, exactly. It's not evil. It's
no.
People just associate it with that, but it's not. It depends on the interpretation of the person using it or subscribing to it.
And it's mostly like Christians that just don't want you to have any fun.
Basically.
And I honestly believe with Christianity, they're the only religion that I can think of like a few that use the devil as you need a means of punishment and the fear of a place that is absolutely horrific to behave yourself. And they're telling this to itty bitty little children that if you don't toe the line, you're going to the pits of hell.
Yeah, there's like a new PTSD diagnosis. You would probably know this, Silverayne, but I forget what it's called, like religious trauma syndrome or something. You grew up with a really religious. What is it?
It's like a religious trauma. Like you get PTSD from just the thought of you want to do absolutely nothing wrong because the fear of you dying and being
right.
And it kind of irritates me because hell is one L, and that's the daughter of Loki. She lives and resides in Helheim, and that's you become enslaved with her if you die. If you're like, but if that's your life, so be it. But yeah, hell's Loki's daughter.
That's interesting. I never heard that.
I've learned a lot on tonight's show because I'm just listening.
And the thing with the craft is you're always learning something. There's always something to learn.
Yeah.
you'll find the people that are 20 that have been doing it for 50 years. Some of them are stuck in their ways about this is how things are done. So when you like to call us new age, where we're doing new things, like, no, we're learning different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, more
I've never seen
open-minded.
anything wrong with learning different ways to doing things.
Right.
And there's going to be a lot of listeners that wholeheartedly don't agree with anything that I have to say. That's okay.
Yeah.
You can be
Exactly.
stuck in your ways, and I'm living my life my way, and it seems to suit me just fine.
Yeah. Or you can be
I mean,
open
I've
and
had
listen.
people not want to adopt an animal to me because they found out what I do.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's judgmental. I mean, they're the ones,
Like,
you
oh
shouldn't
no, I
judge
have a
me.
black cat and I'm going to torture it. Yeah, no, my fat cat, my very fat black cat, is spoiled rotten.
And witches and Wiccans and pagans, they love animals more than anyone, right? I mean, they love nature.
Yes, we literally, we worship nature, we respect nature, we respect the divine feminine and the masculine, and we also respect people, in the LGBTQ community. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of us do, but you kind of find it like, I don't know, sort of iffy where they draw the line of their support.
Right.
And that's another thing when people would be shocked about Satanists is they're very LGBTQ friendly and allies. Shocker.
Yeah.
Right.
And support women's rights. I mean, oh no, like, you're supposed to be evil. Let's not be humanitarians.
It's funny how, even like you said, highly religious people, will definitely be the main ones saying this shouldn't happen, that shouldn't happen, but the things they do behind closed doors are amazing.
Right.
It would make the cultists blush, you know?
Yes. Well, the thing, like, with our religions is they like to call us a cult when it's like most cult leaders are followers of the Bible. Like, Waco, Texas was a big religious fanatic. Warren Jeffs was a huge religious fanatic. There's a whole it's called like the Gothard movement of, like, where you see sister wives where they believe this guy named Gothard that they're very cult like in their
Yeah.
behaviors,
Right.
where
Yeah.
women are subservient, and if you're a girl born into that, your only job is to be a wife and a mother.
Mm-hmm. Right. And yet that's accepted. I mean, some religions like that are more accepted than, what you do, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I'm still the evil one at the end of the day. Okay. Sure. If you want to, like, make me your scapegoat, you have fun with that.
Exactly.
I think one thing that's important about all of this is that, and you shouldn't be judgmental of people's religion, beliefs, spirituality. You should be open and you should listen because, at the end of the day, whether or not you agree with it, it's important to hear other people's perspectives, and it's important to be open-minded and be willing to change. And, I'm not religious, but no matter what religion or ideology or Bible, whatever stories, I find that there's truth in all of them, and there's beauty in all of them. There's it's,
I mean,
it's
I
just important to hear the
follow different
stories.
accounts on Facebook. Like, one is she's Orthodox Jewish, and I follow her because I'm intrigued by her religion, and I follow a gal that she's Muslim, and I follow her, and just the comments that people make towards them about they're oppressed and this, that, and the other, and I don't like it, I don't understand. Like,
Right.
can't you just be respectful? That's the choices that they made in their religion.
Yeah.
It is not affecting you. You don't have to follow it, like it, whatever, but just be respectful.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's the basic thing for everybody and everybody's beliefs and religion and perspectives. And me doing this show on this particular topic is just to open people's eyes up to different avenues, different perspectives, different thoughts, and maybe it's time that we all have a paradigm shift in what we think we know, and that can be helpful and it's so funny because everybody believes, back in whether it's the 1300s, the 1800s, the BCs, how we got to this point that there was always pharmacies, always books, always grocery stores that you can go to. And
Right.
no, there was not. There was not manufactured
What's interesting to me is
drugs.
not that long ago, like the 50s and 60s, people used to consult their neighborhood spiritualist.
Yes.
They used to go and get tarot reads done. In the 1800s, they would have go see the psychics and go just for afternoon Sunday
Right. Have
entertainment, and then they
seances.
stopped. Right. It used to be a daily thing, and now it's like people poke fun at us or call us all evil.
People are more cut off from nature and just the universe
Right.
than ever.
They started villainizing, dandelions, for crying out loud, are a medicinal herb, but they can't regulate that. So what do? They demonized it. It's a
Right.
weed that must be destroyed. Like, well, the stuff that they're using to destroy it with gave people cancer when it itself is beneficial to you.
Wait, what causes cancer?
The
dandelions?
Roundup, the
Oh,
stuff
right.
used
Yeah.
to like they're trying to kill our medicinal
Weed killers.
herbs. Stinging nettle is a good herb for health and swelling, to an anti-inflammatory, and they want you to, oh no, it's a weed that must be destroyed.
Yeah, exactly. We were utilizing that, from the beginning of time, to get to this level. And now people have lost, certain
People
people
don't
have
even know
lost
that it has
touch.
uses
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Sad.
One thing that I wanted to touch on, and it was for people that if they themselves come across like a poppet in any, like, say they're moving into a house and they uncover it, or just you can just easily wrap it up in a garbage bag and throw it away or burn it. I mean, it doesn't really do anything to you to destroy it if you don't want it in your home.
Yeah.
That's true of any kind of item that someone finds that they're not comfortable with, any kind of artifact or witchcraft item. Right. Okay.
But I just strongly urge people that if they come across a weird bottle with weird stuff in it, don't open it.
Yeah.
Let it be.
Because you don't, like, even if it is for healing, it could have like baneful stuff in there, like broken glass and pins and needles that you just don't want to mess with. Right. Just don't open it. I know you're curious. Stop opening it. Kind of like what they're doing in ancient Egypt. Oh, look, we're going to open up some Pharaoh's tomb. Oh, goody, another plague. Stop it. And the Egyptians were known for cursing things too. Like messing with, they were not quiet about cursing objects.
The Egyptians were the original witches. I mean, they were super into that mystical stuff. The mystery schools.
And the same thing, like people going to antique stores and buying antiques, 90% of the time, the owner of that object is still attached to it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So a good way to get rid of, and I know it sounds silly, but what I like to do, especially if I buy something from an antique store, is if you can and it won't hurt it, throwing some salt on it. Throw some salt on it. Light a candle and wave it over a candle if you can. Use sage if that's your practice. Use Palo Santo if that's your practice. Leaving it in the garage for a bit and just, like, I don't know, doing something over it and I know some people like, well, that's silly or superstitious. Not if you don't want the owner of that object moving in with you.
Yeah, that's good tips.
Just do something that you believe in and you're comfortable with to remove the energy of whatever was attached to it.
That makes sense to me.
Just because 90% of the time something is attached to it. It's an antique store.
She said 90%. Dang, but that's true though. That is true. It's an antique store.
I like those odds.
It's probably
just don't let it bring it into your house for 24 hours and call it wonderful. Leave it outside. Who cares? Just don't bring it immediately into your home.
Dang.
That's how people get poltergeists.
That's how people get poltergeist.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this show up tonight. Anything else, Silverayne, you want to add to your disclaimer there when it comes to yard sales, old places that sell used items?
One, doing your research of the item if possible.
That's true. That's very true. Those old rocking chairs. You always wonder, you get those old rocking chairs, whatever, and like wondering why it rocks by itself. Well,
right.
Now you know.
You're asking
great grandma Kathy that belonged to great grandma Kathy, and now she's in your home.
Exactly.
Right.
Because you didn't leave it outside for 24 hours. And just simply telling them, like, if anything is attached to this, please go away. Go.
I have a friend whose dad's house is he thinks it's haunted and it's full of antiques. So I'm going to tell him to go throw salt everywhere.
It's probably too late.
Just walk around and be like, a good way to get rid of, if you honestly believe that your house is haunted because you just had enough of whatever's going on, opening your windows and like literally clapping your house loudly and telling it to get out works most of the time. Just telling it to get out.
Oh, wow.
Like, you cause noise, it gets its attention, and then you sweep your home. Like, you sweep it counterclockwise from the door around your house and back out the door, and sweeping it out and shutting your door will get rid of whatever was in your house.
I have heard that before about the sweeping counterclockwise, but that's interesting that noise attracts it. I'm gonna keep that in mind.
You just clapping your hands loudly and telling it to get out also works. They don't want to be around all that. They want quiet. They don't want, attention from you. Like, they don't like it. They don't like loudness. They don't want to be told to get out. So get out. I have given up on the ghost. It's just going to be in my house. It's fine. I've gotten used to it. It is what it is.
Do you think, on that note, do you think it's someone you know or a loved one or what?
No, it's someone different all the time.
Oh, okay.
I do EVP sessions, and there was one time that it literally told me to chill.
A hip ghost. Okay. That's interesting.
Okay, I hear you.
I did one EVP session a long time ago with like my Ouija board, and it was got into an argument with it. Like, you're not being very helpful. Yeah, no, it's a whole video of us arguing with each other.
That's funny.
I was told to calm down. So
I hope you post that on your YouTube.
It's on my Instagram page.
Oh, is it? Okay, people go check that out. That has to be amazing. Wow.
Yeah, it's fun. I had one app that I had to get rid of because I decided to turn it on, and I had it right next to the window, like facing the haunted house next door. It's literally Fritz. It was like house, demon, basement, wall. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's a bad house. We're done with that.
It was like red alert. Like,
yeah.
Watch out for this home. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. And I think the old lady that lives there is just oblivious to all of it. Or that's probably why she sleeps with all the lights on.
Oh, that's sad. She's probably being tormented.
Sounds like you guys have a portal somewhere. One of you guys has a portal in your house.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. Like, my friend and I will look at the house and we're just like, that house needs to be burned down. Like, I wonder if I can go over there and just like cleanse the house to make it like stop on the outside.
Yeah.
Maybe you should put some witches' bottles in your yard.
Something. You need to stay over there. Get out of my house.
Right.
Wow. Well, Silverayne, thanks for joining us tonight.
It was a pleasure.
On Bottles, Poppets, and just witch topics
everything in
general.
Between.
Yes, exactly.
I'm so glad we have a resident witch that we can just always call and refer to whenever we want to do an episode or we have questions. I think it's so great. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
I enjoy it very much. Thank you.
Man, and again, go hit Silverayne up. She's very intuitive, very knowledgeable. She can help you in all realms, the good, the bad. And thanks for, always being honest and, being yourself and telling your story. And, I think everybody should champion that. All covenants and people out there, you should,
Just be
love
open.
her coming on. Yeah. And giving people a little bit more of knowledge, more knowledge about witches and about just different types of practices, and that people aren't really aware of, and they read in books and don't think that is possible, or people are actually out there practicing still. And
I'm sure there's people out there who are curious, but they're also too scared, or they just don't know where to start. Or so this is great.
And I think the one burning question they all have is, yes, if we could do the Samantha thing from Bewitched, we would do it already.
Right. If only it was that simple.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But they will hit you up and they will, ask for these particular things, to be done, whether it's for love, wealth, knowledge, to get back at their boss, to get that raise, so hopefully they will. Again, thanks for
every Saturday on my Facebook I do a money spell.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, I'm gonna be tuned in for that one. Definitely.
Yeah, you guys should. She has a lot going on. You really should check out her site. What's your IG? Go ahead and say your IG and your Facebook, Silverayne.
My Facebook is facebook.com/Jenna Silverayne.
Okay.
And then I've got several different Instagram pages that I'll link them on my Facebook page.
Perfect. Okay, well, that is tonight's show. Carolyn, have you don't go try to practice any spells on anyone.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't know. I wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah, but you're good at grabbing the books, whatever, and going for it. But but no, this is a really good show, and I just think shifting people's paradigms and giving everyone knowledge about what's out there and what are the possibilities. And I know even, speaking, about the African American community, they don't talk about any of this stuff. Like, this is topics that they won't even delve into, let alone talk freely about, maybe in everyone's homes, whatever. But you should. There is not the one religion and the one aspects of everything. You are meant to be on this earth to explore, to gain knowledge, and to flourish, with that information and knowledge. And you should definitely take that time and that chance while you can, because you never know if you're guaranteed tomorrow or what the next life will bring.
Right. And just real quick, I'm sorry, I did look up the name of the Brazilian magic, and it's actually called Macumba, but that's like their version of Santorini. It's,
okay.
Okay.
But I also have and Silverayne
have
all
a
of
group
it,
on
so.
Facebook. That's
the
group. It's a private group called Wicked Mystica.
Oh, okay.
And that is a safe, anybody listening, that is a safe space for anybody who wants to know more about the craft, where it's taboo in your culture, your religion, whatever, that you can come and ask me any questions that you have.
Perfect. Alrighty. Carolyn, anything else?
No, I think we covered everything.
Alrighty. Okay, well, that was a great night, and we are out. Strange Darkness Radio. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Ethel, do you know where you are?
My body!
You have passed over. You died.
No. Everything, my body, they took it. It's torn.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
We learned that for the past 8 years, military pilots frequently encountered unknown objects in controlled airspace off both the east and west coast across the continental United States in test and training areas and ranges. We don't know where they come from, who made them, or how they operate.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west. Look at that thing, dude.
Cleveland County 911.
I don't know if I should have called this in or not, but
What's going on?
if I'd have had my camera, I'd take a picture of it.
Take a picture of who?
I don't know what it was. He's walking upright like a man. I would not kill it because I was afraid to. But it went back up the mountain.
Cleveland County 911.
Hello.
Can I help you?
Yes. This is Tim.
Uh-huh.
You probably have my address.
Yes, sir. What's going on now?
I shined a light on this thing.
Okay, what did it look like?
It looked like a giant ape with a man's face. But I was afraid to kill it. And it made a whistling sound. He was about 9-10 foot tall with real long arms. I go out there, he gets gone. Then I come back in the house, and he gets back there again, and my dogs are just raising heck. Would I get in any trouble if I shot and killed this beast, this animal, or whatever it is? Would I get in any trouble?
I can't answer that question.
If he goes too close to me, I'm gonna kill him.